Welcome back. We're going to continue with Sunless Sea. Last time... When the world did we do last time? I think we went... Oh, right, we found Scrimshander. But what else did we do? I think mainly we just went... Oh, we sent more ships to Rag because we went to Khan's Heart. Did we progress anything else? We did find the forgotten ship, something like that. That did ask us to go to Scrimshander. Also, we need to go to Hideaway because we picked up somebody that wants to go there, which I thought would be around here, but I guess not. So, still don't know where that is. I said on the back of the beast, which I don't know where that is. So, yeah, I'm not sure. It could be the back of the Salt Lions, but unlikely. Because I think we would have said we discovered that. Did we progress it? I think we learned a bit about the Dawn machine. Oh no, we found one of the. We found the Dawn things. Flux, yeah. Yeah, that was about it. Not a huge amount, I don't think. Don't remember. But, yeah, so we're gonna explore this place. Entering Scrimshander. Before you looms the bone tower of Scrimshander, the city of remembrance. Ivory structures jut from the pile, supported by buttressing tusks. As your light plays across them, you can make out inscriptions, names, pictures, and dozens of lost languages. The largest one carrying a warning. All are welcome to enter, but none may depart without leaving something of themselves behind. We can accept the price and dock. A drownie floats before the docking gate of a bone citadel. She wears a cowl and carries a ceremonial key carved with a femur. As you approach, she sings a solemn greeting. Soldier, scholar, servant of art, history welcomes without toll. But be warned, here you depart, none who enter escape whole. Beware, you will have to pay a price to depart from Scrimshander. Okay, or we can keep sailing to reason to commit yourself to history quite yet. They do have a shop. Ooh, fuel's kind of cheap. Relics are cheap. Supplies are relatively cheap. Ivory's the same. I can sell hunting trophies for a bunch here too. Okay, fair enough. Sure, why not? We go in. A coward crew. A code? Coward? The crew. The Guardian unlocks Ivory gates. Steel glints in her fingers as she carves an image of your ship onto her into her massive bone key. Your brave crew decides to remain on the ship as you disembark for the tower's dry center. You have been to Scrimshander, the city of remembrance. Don't say history if there's merely one of them. Histories. Occurrence, your Scrimshander, Tides of Time quality is now 1. Drowning scholars believe that history is a never-ending cycle of trends and social forces. A wise historian learns to sail each era's turbulent tides. Occurrence, your Scrimshander History of Heroes quality is now 1. The Shalanate hunters believe history is a result of historic words and deeds. A wise historian learns from their actions and embraces their heroism. Okay, you walk down a damp nave of bone. Cataly? Satellite? Intrasadally? Whatever. Carved intricately carved ivory walls? I don't know. Depict improbable scenes from history. The walls are edged in fine finger bones, each bearing a single name. Inhabitants wear ashen robes and carry steel-tipped bone quills, but you recognize most of the Drownies or Chalonate patrons. While most are quiet and ignore visitors, you hear heated arguments over interpretations of the sacred remains. Sacred remains, which will include whatever you leave behind when you depart. We can deliver the cargo of answers. Scrimshander was its original destination. The shipment has been substantially delayed, but thanks to you, it's finally here. Yeah. Sure. Let's start with that. An unwanted shipment. A archivist. Yeah, scurries forward to look at the cargo as you hull it into the nave. Her eyes shine, but her complexion pales. This is going to cause such an awful fuss. She bends to admire the carvings. The Drownies will gloat, and the Chalonates will fight to bury it, but leave it with me before. She is cut off by a sudden clamor. Drowny voices rising from the depth of the caverns intermingle with the laden footsteps of Charlonate boots. A moist group of Drownies bears down on you. Their leader, a Drowny pathologist, looks at the cargo with relief. Excellent. This is worthy of display. How did you hear of this so quickly? Do they have spies at the dock? How did they hear this so quickly? Her smug smile disappears with the loud arrival of a gang of Charlonates armed with heavy books. They push toward you, their expression angry. We would bury this insult, one cries. Give the cargo to the Drownies. The truth should be revealed. Or give the cargo to the Charlonates. It is their history. Okay, that's a good question. Cause it's originally for the Chalonates. Plus, I don't really like the Drownies. I think they kill people. I'm pretty sure. Or like, kinda. Also, they have their like city that like entices people and gets them to stay. I'm pretty sure. I don't really like, but I don't know anything about the Charlonates other than they hunt things. But it's their originality, so I think it should be up to them if they want to have it revealed. Yeah, we give it to the Charlonates. Identity preserved. The Drownies wail. The Charlonates are arrogant, boastful. Don't let them bury the truth. But the Charlonates have already snatched up the cargo. Downcast, the Drownies depart through an arched tunnel. The Charlonate chronologist thanks you. The Drownies tell us that our history are only stories. Well, they are our stories. They are our stories. Our stories. Sure. He presents you with a collection of dusty relics, then heads after his fellows. The story can be continued in Scrimshander's center. I feel like Scrimshander, something about that makes me think of bones. Not because of the city, but I feel like one of those words, either scrim or shander, has like Latin roots of bones, but I don't know which one. You've delivered a cargo of answers to the Charlonates. You have recovered a box of bone carvings from a wreck. The cargo was intended for delivery to Scrimshander. You gained 5 outlandish artifacts, now total 7. You no longer have this cargo of answers. Bone bears an account of the Charlonate's great turtle and its death. It challenges established histories. It should be delivered to Scrimshander. Or there's something in history, in like fiction that has Scrimshander or something that makes me think of bones. It's not only the city, I promise. I know this city is all bones, but that's not the only thing that I'm thinking of. We can perform a task for the Charlonate. The Charlonate chronologist sits primarily atop the cargo of answers. He would appreciate your assistance. We can do that. A shame that should be forgotten. I have arranged for the cargo to be escorted to the deepest archives. He indicates a muscular monk standing grim-faced next to him. But the escort must remain below to ensure this particular piece of history remains undisturbed. Will you accompany him to ensure the deed is done, and report back when this aberrant history is safely interred? You must enter the Ivory archives to continue the story. The glib historian may be able to help. Okay, we could take a note of a veiled woman. A middle-aged woman in a veiled hat is staring at you, waiting for you to notice and listen to her. We can do that. The Empress's sister's tale. She pushes a sheaf of papers into an oversized case and bustles towards you. I have been all over Scrimshander, and I can find no sign of my brother's writing or any inscription about him, she says, which is strange because I was most definitely assured he had come here. Meanwhile, I made certain promises of a pecuniary nature, which means that I am not at liberty to leave Scrimshander again for a few days. So I turn to you. Could you assist me? Sorry, my nose is not doing good today. So I turn to you. Could you assist me? Are your services for hire? It is a matter of family loyalty, of the ties of blood. Occurrence, your Agile commission to retrieve a reagent quality is now 5. Stop to listen to the Empress's sister. Okay. Wait, this isn't the right place. Why are you getting... That's a different place. Okay, whatever. The sister is no longer exactly useful, but she speaks passionately passionately from under her veil. Perhaps she has studied heroines on the stage. I need help to be reconciled with my dear brother. Listen to what she wants. She is very urgent to speak with you. Refuse the commission. It's not really your line. No, we help. She has a brother who is dear to her, a sensitive soul, very reserved. He used to work for the Admiralty. Something happened to distress him there. When I asked him about it, he said I had enough to worry about with my own concerns. My husband was ill at the time, but I could help him. If he would only permit me to know his troubles, for, he puts a hand on her heart. Bearing one another's burdens is what makes us truly good. She tells you you'll need to go to Agal, City of Regrets. Find her, find her brother's regret, and return it to her. She will pay gladly. Okay. We can do that. We know what that is, so. We can gather at the stage of history. Scholars file directly into a pair of great ivory doors at the far end of the hallway. When they stumble out again, you can hear raised voices, arguments, and laughter. Okay. To the amphitheater. After the reverent silences of the outside, the boisterous noise of the amphitheater washes over you like the heavy sea beyond these walls. Actors strut in an amphitheater of bone, performing historical plays of dubious veracity. An audience watches from below, with each roaring drunk member applauding or jeering different details of the work. Above, an empress figure wearing a crown of ivory judges each performance with a raised theater from a raised theater box. All are served by a single man, weaving between the crowd and wearing a particular smirk. We can talk with the glib historian. The mushroom wine he serves is stale. The play he announces are questionable at best, but the implicitly bearded man with the ivory skin laughs at every performance, at his smile for every patron. Yeah, sure, why not? Warring theories on the stage of history. Some cheer history as the work of brave and inspired heroes, especially them who wish they could be heroes themselves. The glib historian rolls his eyes theatrically. Others say it's all shaped by cyclical changes in scientific progress, economics, and such, but nothing gets in the way of a good story quite like nuance. He spits out the word like a rotten grape. We let them argue up on the stage and give an ivory crown to whoever is most convincing at the moment. He waves a hand at the temporary monarch in the rising seat above. But far as I'm concerned, he confides, filling a patron's mug with cheap wine, history is what you make of it, and I make a killing. You learned enough about history to distrust any person's interpretation. Can I do this again? Okay, it's the same thing. We can watch a fierce debate. Two monks pursue new historic interpretations based on research in the archives. Weapons are strictly prohibited. This costs 50. Tides of time, no more than one. We can trade coffee for time in archives. Even the most avid scholars knows not all historical tales are exciting. This requires coffee. We can trade wine for time. Agree to search ivory echoes for a hero. The Charlemagne champions hope to regain their prestige by staging a historic play. Assist their research in the ivory archives and they'll give you a hero's reward. Or we can agree to search the ivory archives for a pattern. The drowny chorus sits just dejectedly in the corner, stripped with the hero's worship on display. They'll pay well if you can research the societal context to the figures on stage. Yeah, we can search for a hero. No shortage of heroes. They assure you that any hero will do, as long as their deeds are suitably profound, ideally bloody. But the details are negotiable. You will need to trade coffee or wine for time in archives in order to pursue this quest. Ah, okay. So I don't have either. Oh wait, we can trade time. Not money. I can do the money thing. Not trade money, but we can do fierce debate. Yeah. Confusion reigns. The arguments range from passion to inscrutable, and the jeers of the crowd don't help. The winner is selected by the monks throwing knuckle bones at their choice. The winner receives the ivory crown and ascends to the ruler's seat. Your enjoyment of the ceremony is diminished somewhat when you find an errant knuckle bone in your mug. Lost 5 terror. Lost 50 echo. You gained 1 tide of times. You gained 2 history of heroes. Now total 3. Okay. We can watch a historic play. This costs 50. The Charlonade's companions promise a tale of a lone hero who changed the course of history based on historical evidence. Often enjoyable, occasionally accurate. Truly, this is what heroes are made of: courage, charm, and an ample capacity for violence. The moral is clearly defined. The propped horses are surprisingly well painted. How considerate of history to provide such an exemplar of his heroism. The crowd roars its approval and keeps the glib historian busy with demands for more wine. His efforts to serve the unruly lot deserve a play of their own. You lost 50 echoes, you lost 10 terror. That's a good way of getting rid of terror. And it's repeatable. Okay, we can assist an ancient chronicler. Whatever. A bandaged monk sits, attempting to carve a tale with a steel-tipped quill. This is not work for a tumbling hand. 37. We can delve into the ivory archives. The ivory archives are a wealth of history, with ages of visitors' stories carved into the bone pillars that build the citadel. It's something between the library and an ossuary, but less inviting. You will want enough time in the archives to explore and return afterwards. At least 5 points is recommended, but more will allow deeper explorations. Do not overstay your welcome. It will not be pleasant. We can compile a report. Consider it an ongoing history of the present. We can do that. Few visitors, fewer departures. The inhabitants of Scrimshander spend much of their time preying on the mysteries of the past. They spend almost as much time arguing about their interpretations. Salted residents often collect nearby salvage, studying the results and inscribing their interpretations as any skeletal remains. But those who leave too often are easily recognized by what they have left behind in their travels: memories, personalities, and bones. Otherwise, they rarely consider the present. Currently, they're certainly not with the same focus they give to the histories buried within the tower. Recent world events are met with polite silence, unless it prompts an anecdote about similarities with antiquity. Apart from old grudges and new theories, very little changes here. You now have 1 port report. A city of memory where history is a battleground. Sure, we could try assisting an ancient chronologicaler. 37%. Inlaid with blood. The bandaged monk describes a day in the life of a tomb colonist while you carve his words. The tale continues interminably, and your eyelids begin to droop until your hand slips, sending the steel nub of the quills skittering across the bone and into the palm of your hand. Blood wells against ivory, flowing into the words and highlighting them in crimson. Kindly, the monk takes the quill and offers you a length of bandage. When you staunch the bleeding, he invites you to the ivory archives. He confides in you that many of the most beloved records are inlaid with blood. You gain 1 terror, you gain 1 scrimshander time in the archives. The ivory archives are jealously guarded. Like most of the figures in the archives, almost anyone overstays their welcome is likely to meet a grisly end. Okay. I'm not gonna go in there then. Leave Scrimshander. No one departs without leaving something of themselves behind. Be ready. Departing. Were there quite this many guards when you came in? Was there always a pile of fresh bones by the entrance? Okay. Departing Scrimshander. No one may depart the Scrimshander without leaving something of themselves behind by which to be remembered. Tradition demands it, as do the muscular guards at the gate. Their sharpened bone quills are at the ready to collect your donation. We can provide transport for a scholar. A bandaged scholar stands near the exit, angrily brushing ash off of himself. At your approach, he brusquely demands passage to Hideaway. Of course he'll pay. We're already going there, so we might as well collect that. In search of history's losers. He's studied remains of 100 wars and read 1,000 bitter ends. Now he seeks survivors so he can interview them in person. He assures you it's purely academic interest. His life has been splendid personally. He merely wishes to see how they live with themselves. The scholar of lost causes grumbles as he settles into bunk, ready for the trip to Hideaway. Okay, we can leave behind a story. You can always make more. Leave behind a past triumph is dearly earned, only fear that it will be dearly spent. We can leave behind vitality, warmth. Actually, I should read these. Stack bricks of bones and ash to build the tower and earn your leave. Or we can leave behind your warmth. You don't really need it down here, do you? Or we leave something a little more tangible. One guard carries a butcher's cleaver. With a shudder, you recall how many finger bones decorated the tower. Okay, so I could lose a finger. Now I'm gonna give my 5 Z stories or 1 hunting trophy. Hunting trophy is probably the better way, actually. Some other hero's tale. The guards light incense and clean the trophy with a musky oil. As you recount the victory that won it, a chronological etches your words onto its surface. The scratching of the bone quill grows louder in your ears with each word. By the time you're finished, your trophy has been replaced with an identical copy. But this one has been inscribed with a thrilling fictional tale. As you depart, you wonder if you would recognize the hero of such a thrilling yarn. You lost one trophy, you left a part of yourself behind for the ivory tower at Scrimshander. Okay. I should buy some fuel. And then we leave. Okay. It's an interesting place where it's like, technically there's a history, but they don't show the history, the real history, because it's not interesting. They only show, they want to see histories. Or, not, sorry, they want to hear stories. I want to go to the beast. What are you? You're just a rock. Discover the Gant Pole. Where did I find the Gant Pole? What are you? Gant. Oh, I guess that's a Gant Pole. What in the world are you? I didn't need to find the Gant Pole. But, I wanted to go there. Okay, well, that's fine. Gant Pole is fine. What's down there? Nothing. Okay. We park. Again. It's like a heart. I don't know what this is, but that looks like a heart with a main artery vein, or yeah, the vein. I forget. One goes to your lungs. That's the main vein, goes to your lungs, and then from your. Don't we have 4? I don't remember. Anyhow, where the Z goes to die. The submarine surfaces in a pocket of air in the middle of the giant stone heart. There, you are not the only new arrival. A midnight whale lies mortally wounded on a small beach of bone and blubber, moaning softly. An elderly woman in ragged red robes is carving its flesh, attended by a few disciples. We approach the woman in red. Her hands move with expert, if incomprehensible precision. If I can click the button. Demonstration of herepacy? Sure. The art of divination through entrails. Not the most pleasant or reliable way of seeing the future, especially with the organs in question still warm and oozing as she plucks them from the great beast. Whatever she is looking for, the focus it demands exhausts her. A sudden sound, rumbling from the tunnels, the ventricles, the sound of a stampede, a cry of protect the mistress, as a flood of naked old men and women wielding primitive bone harpoons charges towards the whale. Old sailors fixated on one goal, feasting on the Z flesh, whether the Horospix is finished or not. The Horospix fades a little more. Her time draws near. The flesh reveals all. Gant Pole. Portents of the deep. The Horospix pecs draws them from the ventricle. Viscera of the nearly dead. We can defend the fading Horospix. These sailors look old enough to collapse at the sight of slight breeze. We can join the attacks. The sailors have to stick together. Stay out of it. A fight over whale blubber, not your business. No, we're gonna defend the old woman. A rancid root. You stride into the melee. The Heroxpex and her disciples are outnumbered, but your contribution to the fray is worth at least 10 of the elderly attackers. Their harpoons barely leave a scratch. Wrenching from one of the nearest attackers, you easily hold the... oh boy. Geriatric horde back with little but pointed gestures. The Heroxpex returns to her work. From the corner of your eye, you see a little of the method behind it. Just a little, but enough to see the traces of a pattern in the grooves of a small ivory slate. The one they fear waits in a pale cavern. The walls are carved with prophecies. She frowns, unsatisfied. The whale moans its last as she finishes up. Her work done. She thanks you with a nod and has her people allow the old sailors to approach the slowly cooling carcass. Hunt phthalates, mustaches, beloved, or Triska Gates to bring more beasts to the game pole. Okay, so just any of the undersea beasts, I think. I think we've only killed... oh, no. Behemustaches? Were they underground or underwater? I think so. Okay. You are learning the ways of Herospicy. Secrets are buried in flesh and bone. Okay. Gampole. The leathery carcasses of hollowed-out beasts line the ventricles of the stone heart. Ancient blubber bubbles up around paths of bone and hide that squelch with each step. A distant drip carves eternity into hours. We can speak with the fading Heroxpex. She sits in a ghoulish tent made of the bone and hide of long-dead beasts, saving her energy for the next great behemoth to reach its grisly end. We can do that. She sits with her eyes closed. A pair of disciples are wielding damp sponges, doing their best to moisten her cracked, bone-dry skin. Her fingernails have not been cut in decades. They rattle as she beckons you forward. Ask about the art of Herospicy. What does she need? Does she see in the bodies of the dead? We can do that. The nearly dead, she corrects. There is nothing to be predicted from meat but the quality of one's dinner. A wheezing laugh escapes her lungs. In Babylon, the quivering livers of 100 sheep showed us the fate of the first. In Rome, had Caesar only asked the right questions. It is the life that leads to answers, not the meat. Down here, centuries of life, so many secrets, but the great beasts of the sea pass on so rarely. I cannot hold so much longer in the hope of finding what I seek. Yeah. Bring recent news to the fading Heroxpex. It may add context to your divination. You can boost your apprentice to a maximum of 3. Okay, we can do that. We have a recent news. Tools of the trade. She listens intently to the latest gossip and scandals. How I miss them. Thank you. This makes many things clearer, and other things so much more confused. Let me show you more of my art. I suspect it will have the same effect. You are learning the ways of Herospicy. Herospicy? Spicy? You no longer live this. Recent news. We can ask her about her. How long has she been down here? The passage of time. 10 years? 100 years? 1,000? It is all the same after a while. The flesh keeps the body together. The mind, well, that is a trickier matter. I have coped. Nothing. Others have not. You have seen them, the oldest of the sailors, with no warm bed and loving family calling them to shore. They are so much creatures of the sea as any that swim in it. The heart welcomes them, and they embrace it. It is their fate. I see a far more important one in your future. We need an apprentice for that. Okay. Ask her about previous visitors. Who else has ventured down here in search of her wisdom? Tale of the Presbyterian princess. It has been so long. The last who came here without being drawn, long ago. Time enough that these nails were short and this face still held some beauty. Oh, spare me the sympathetic murmurings. I see the present better than the future, like any other. But where was I? Yes, the Presbyterian princess was the last to find me. She came from the city on the mountain to ask the fate of an uprising. Not that of the 7 who fell, but the 7 who follow. Would the pain be worth it? She asked. That part I could not answer. Okay, we can ask about the traveler. That must be the person the 6th witness meant for you to meet. A matter of later. The fading Haruspex shakes her head. I have seen nothing of this, but nor have I asked. If I leave it to me, if I have it in me, once I have my answer, I will attempt the divination. You will have the opportunity to find the 6 witnesses' answer later on. Okay. That, if I remember correctly, is the person that's sitting in King's Castle, whatever that place is called. And it's staring off into the east. She nods gracefully. You take your leave. She slips into a silent torpor. I don't know what torpor is. We can explore further into the game pool. Little light seeps into the maze of ventricles beyond the chamber. Or we compile a port report. The Admiralty is unlikely to take it seriously, but we should still do this. That favored hazing method of many a veteran sailor. Saved for particularly wet behind the ears recruits. Ask your captain to deliver this to the gant pole. Go to the gant pole and find my pocket watch. Tell the crew, tonight we dine at the gant pole. A hilariously gape when not standing in the blasted place and hoping someone will pay for recent news from it. Okay. We can also release a Blimmigan. There's no telling how this one will fare down here. We're not going to do that. So we explore further into the gant pole. You hold up the candle. The flame flickers as you approach the dry tunnels. A slight breeze pulses through them, carrying with it a purgent cocktail of salt, stale air, and decay. You lost one foxfire candles, now total one. You continue walking through the Gant pole. You wander lost in the depth of the Gant pole. Something onwards and inwards. Something at the center of the Gant pole calls to you. To the part of you that feels tired, weary, that craves sleep without the inevitability of waking. The more you walk, the closer you will get. An almost impossible challenge. Your Gant Corridors of the Heart quality gives you a 0% chance of success. Return to the main chamber. The writing on the wall should lead the way. We can continue. Endless tunnel. The scrawling pirate cleans his teeth with a dagger. The Gant pole's depth are a fine place to hide for those who find it. Gant pole, Corridors of the Heart failed in the challenge. Try again and you may have better luck. You now have one Gant pole, Corridors of the Heart. Okay, now we have a 6% chance. Endless tunnels. Now we have 3. This is an 18% chance. Nope, still not. You are exploring this maze of twisted passages. Okay. 24% chance. Lost. Every tunnel twists and turns. Is it a little treasure? Really so much to ask for in such a grim place? Gained one Gant pole. Corridors of the Heart. More long. Lost 6 now. We have a 36% chance. Now we're at 7. 42% chance. The chamber. A glimmer of silver behind sight. The sharp smell of salt. Where old sailors go to die. You succeeded in a Gant pole, Corridors of the Heart challenge. You have left the Gant poles of ventricles. You gain 5 Gant poles, Corridors of the Heart, now total 12. The Gant chamber. At the very center of the heart, the old sailors sit meditating around a briny pool of Gant, the color that remains when all others are gone. Most of their clothes have rotted away to nothing, or been discarded with the rest of the old lives. The oldest of them sits like statues around the pool. Thick layers of salt armor their dissected skin. We can attempt to speak with old sailors. Their unblinking eyes stare at you. Sure, we can do that. No response. They ignore your words. Their eyes do not flicker, even as they click you click your fingers by their eyes. They just sit, awaiting the next feast of Z-Beast flesh. Do we have to do it again? I don't want to use another foxfire candle. Yeah, we should though. You succeeded. You gained 2 Gant points. Perfect. We can take a sample of the Gant from the pool. The liquid drips through your fingers. It must be something infused with its impossible color. Or we can return to the main chamber. Finding the way back will not be easy. We didn't even increase that, so we do this. No more. Unlocked with no more than 0 star shell. 1 page underneath. The absence of color, the presence of form. You fish into the pool. A few stones of no worth. Discarded rags. This will suffice. A shell of so infused with the Gant, it barely even resembled or is visible in the light. Now 1-star shell. Did a judgment hatch from this grim relic? Or was it something else entirely? Don't look too closely at the eye-hurting absence of color. Okay, so now that can be used at the Curiosity dude in, what's that place called? Vendor Bite. Shops. Fuel's fairly cheap. Supplies are cheap. That's good. We don't need supplies, but that's good. Carboy of primordial shrieks. This requires honey. Sealed and triple sealed with wax. Okay. This is Jonah's end. The naive merchant came here in search of glory. He now makes his living selling less rancid meat to his customers, to any customer he can find. Or we can go to the Porterium, the Horospex disciples will take life, give death. Not yours, obviously. So we can give a live specimen for 7 strange catches. We can give the heart of the Tree of Ages for a colossal flux core, which we already have. We can give a harlot fry, a bucket of tiny but razor-toothed serpentlings. The oldest and deadliest arachnid from its Citinia's core, deadliest and now thankfully dead. Also, we can buy ivory for Tales of Terror, which isn't great. Okay, I guess we leave. And continue. Oops. Exploring. Because I want to go... I'll go around. Oops. Got spooked second. Okay, weird. Just from the noise of that spooked me. What are you? It's just a rib cage? Okay. Of something. We don't really want to worry about what that was. What are you? So if this is an iron heart, or stone heart. I thought I heard sizzling. It's not warning me about anything. Okay. Huh. Could that be a skull then? Because it's like split in two. Interesting. And we do need to kill beloveds and stuff, so we do need to go hunting for stuff down here. Something here. I think it's just gonna be more, also, I think this is a dock of some type. That's my assumption. Not sure. Maybe not. Maybe there's no dock there. Just islands. It's just rocks, I guess. Interesting. That looks like something. Yeah, okay, that's a port. Also, we haven't found anything down here, so might as well go above. Nativity. This is probably where the uh, elder tree, whatever it is, spider was. Where we get that. We probably don't want to fight it. Oh, hello, crab. I'll fight you. You are 600 health, though. So. Back up. Very low amount of speed though. You destroyed an elder angler crab. The shell is shattered. The glowing light Lilius lies silent. I don't know what that means. We can dissect it for knowledge. Of course, we're going to do this. Decrepodal mysteries. You and your ship's clamber over the beast as it lies at the lee of your ship. Its blood is a curious blue, and the blood too is touched by luminosity. Luminance. Yeah, whatever. It's a female, but there are no eggs. Oh, we've read this before. Succeeded in a page's challenge. You gained 180 fragments. You gained 300 trophies. Okay, it's fine. We need light. Actually, never mind. We need light. There we go. I think it's about proximity to a shore sometimes. Savior's Rock. The sound of your constant motion is like pebbles on the beach. Let's check shops. There are standard prices. No shipyard. Okay. The scattered reaches. Intricate webs stretch into the darkness where the shadows are never entirely still. Gossamer threads stolen by the breeze tickle the goosebumps on your skin. 1,000 unseen eyes promise 1,000,000 more. You can bring light into the darkness. The sorrow spiders avoid the candlelight, but not out of any sense of fear. Though far from the torrent of outsiders, they care little enough for their bandit webs to turn a blind eye to at least a little scavenging, up to a point. I have a 10% chance of getting spider silk, but I can get 15. Okay. Or we can risk exploring without candles. In this wasteland, only the false stars in the roof of the neath illuminate the webs and ruins the sorrow spiders and the ruins the sorrow spiders call home. You may still stumble upon something, though, or indeed into something. Okay. This is a 7% chance. I'm not doing that. Preparing for the festival of silk. The glumness of the nativity is broken by the reds and golds of freshly hung banners. Spider worshipping weavers and widows guide the traders in readying their celebration of gratitude to the generous neighbors that silently watch over them from the shadows. We can assist with the festive preparations. The assistance of an experienced captain and crew will hardly be turned down. We can trade supplies for silk. The fine silk of Savior's Rocks is the most coveted in the Neath. There can be no better time to acquire some without the usual trader's markup. We could do that. 2 supplies for 1 bolt of spider silk. I don't think that's fully worth. Because we could buy them for 15, so it'd be 30. 15 for our supplies, so it'd be buying them for 30, essentially. A fine trade. We'll only be needing to stock up on supplies like this till after the festival of silk, warns the merchant, as his people load your goods onto this ship. He'll be back to Echoes like regular after that, but still, you come see me and I give you a deal that'd turn Mr. Vale's cloak white. He pauses for a moment, checking the shadows on instinct. Of course, if anyone asks, I never said that. And you now have 1 bolt of spider silk. Okay. We can't compile a port report. The silk traders of the Nativity know better than to risk loose chatter. Still, a little contribution to the festival may loosen their tongues. We need mushroom wine. A delivery of trinkets. An almost entirely legitimate silk trader urgently requests your help with a delivery to Fallen London. We can do that, sure. Trinkets, just trinkets, confirms the man holding out the box. From inside comes a slight cracking noise, a hiss, a scratch that hints at nails on wood. Trinkets, he repeats, not meeting your eye. You now have 1 Savior's Rock trinkets, just trinkets. Definitely not Sorrow Spider eggs. Deliver them to Fallen London. Oh yeah. Yeah, we'll assist with the festival preparations. Quiet murmurs of appreciation. The traders of the Nativity have little practice showing appreciation, but at least put in effort. In particular, they are not entirely accidentally let slip the secret of the accord of grace, a hospitality granted visitors by the generous neighbors of whom they will speak no ill. Oh, my brain is melting. They do, however, hint that this only applies to travelers arriving through the port. Those unlucky enough to run aground on the rocks can consider themselves. But no. A Sorrow Spider might hear something they would of course never say. That's all for now. You can gain 10 fragments. Your Savior Rocks the webs of Savior Rock's quality is now 1, a stranger to Spider. You've encountered the Grand Spider Council of Savior's Rocks. Interesting. Okay. I guess we leave. Do I go north? Yeah, I want to clean up this, I think. Or do we want to go south? We do need to go to Argyle. Now we go north. Supplies were good. Fuel were good. Terror were good. Yeah, okay. We're fine. The haunted doctor shrieks from a sorrow spider. How did this horrible creature get aboard the ship? Smash the sorrow spider with a flung boot. How does this horrible creature get on board the ship, or call a sailor to take the care of this nasty thing? Locked when learning about the haunted doctor is you have whined the haunted doctor. You have this. Okay, we can do that. A relief. The haunted doctor breathes easily. He rummages for a hidden bottle, drinks deep. I apologize. Captain, it is not that I am a cowardly man, merely, he sighs. I am not Neath-born. When I ventured here, I knew nothing of Clayman. Had hardly imagined I might one day share a hansom cab with a charismatic devil. I have never even heard tale of sorrow spiders, whose webs catch men's mind as easily as their body. Have you visited the observatory where they nest? I suspect not. His hand trembles. It was a full year I found myself there, with the lady. She wrapped me in silk, and her children kept me warm. She gave me her sight, and all she asked for in return was my eye. It was a dream I cannot call a nightmare, yet one I woke from with shivers in revelation. If it is in light that such sorrow breeds, only in darkness could there be hope. In the liberation of night, I believed I saw hope for us all. I was misguided, but that story, you know. Please, I would return to my duties. The haunted doctor has unburdened himself. You lost one terror. Can I progress him now? Where are we? Haunted doctor. Speak to... A request from the haunted doctor. He asks it quietly, almost with embarrassment, as he sutures a crewman's wound. Oh, Concha. Our recent conversation has left me nostalgic. The haunted doctor admits. His voice shakes slightly, though his fingers do not. Should a suitable opportunity arise, I would remind myself that there are still those who dare to dream of a better world. It has been too long since I warmed my hands on such passion. He snips the thread, his work, as ever, immaculate. Okay, so we need to go to Con Shadow. Interesting. I doubt we're gonna find anything here. In this block, but I want to cover this, and I want to cover all north. Also, I want to go to Rim, so maybe then I can get rid of or I can use the Colossal Fluck, or whatever it's called. I guess it could be... something waits you at port. Fun. Oh, hey, there's something. Is that just fuel? I'm gonna actually grab it. Slow engines, man. Five torpedoes. Kind of useful, actually. At least they don't take up space, so... just kind of a gain. It just goes directly into the wall. Nice. Also, there might be something here. I wonder. I was thinking. So, the hideaway is on the beast's back, as we were told. Does that mean... I wonder if that means that giant mountain. It's very unlikely. But possible, I think. Also, I feel like I should... interesting things up here to discover. Like that, for example. I assume whatever this place is. This one, not that. That we know what it is. It's just Irene. Oh, there's an abyss here. Weaver's Rift. Sorry, not an abyss. These two corner pieces. I don't want to lose too much fuel. I do want these pieces. I guess I can turn off my light. It's not growing care that much. Okay, that's done. So go other direction. Close to the edge, so not getting more tear. We can clean up this. Probably park at Irene and call it for the day. But for the set, whatever. So we are getting to that point where my brain is melting. Still not swapping. Oh, there we go. I was wondering. Guess we should go south. Trigger this. Come on. There we go. These two. Circle back. So we need our light. Or do I want to do that one? Yeah, I kind of want to do that one. And then we can go back and collect more on the way back, because we can go through these. As long as we don't see that giant thing, because I don't think I can fight that. Well, it's 1,000. I guess we can try. See how much damage it does. Also, we should have our light on now, because it's 2 ticks. Beast back. Could mean a lot of things, realistically. Could be in like the Khan's shadow, because it's like on the beast of the Khan, or the back of the Khan, but then that's not its own place, so probably not. South, we go to Urim. Where else could that be? Could be anywhere, realistically. Maybe it's just something that's strictly underwater too, that we just haven't seen. High Republic, no. And we've been around the... How's your do? In the world are you? Pirate moth? Is that what it said? Pirate moth. Okay, don't worry. Even though you're a mom, should we wait this giant floodlight? There's a turn like that's the question. Like front facing. Good. You've discovered, or destroyed a tyrant moth. It's already disintegrating into a slothy mass, like a slick of rotting leaves. Examine it before its final dissolution. These mosaic configurations of its wings, do they carry meaning? This is 30% chance, or we can search for jewels. There's an old story. Let's do that. Sapphires. Blue jewels are embedded in the rotting fuselage of the moth's remains. You gather as much as you can, splashing frantically in the ship's boat before disintegrates altogether, and the remaining jewels are lost. You gain 1 casket of sapphires, now total 6. Interesting. So that's a way of getting those. Also, what in the world is... Oh, this is the lighthouse, okay. The Ragged Crow. I need to go south. Also, is there a port around here? No. Oh, there's something underwater to the southeast. Just I need to go deeper. Come on. One of these times. There we go. Oh no, world is north. Oh, that would be it. The Crow. We will explore this place next time. Yeah. Thank you all for watching, and see you next time. Bye.